So with Spider-Man and Sony and Disney and all the kerfuffle that comes from it, all the fighting, all the online nonsense that's happening in regards to this particular situation, Twitter is just a veritable minefield. But it does kind of feel that there are a lot more people that are supportive of Disney than Sony, and it's been like that since, well, yesterday when the news broke. And even today, before getting ready to record this, I brought up Twitter. I brought up the top trending. We can see here that trending in Washington with 56,000 tweets, not just in Washington, but all over the place. We have Save Spider-Man from Sony. And that particular hashtag, again, a lot of popularity, a lot of people talking about it, might not be as legitimate as you might think. In fact, according to this report here from Screen Rant, it says it looks like bots are helping Save Spider-Man trend. And that's no good, especially when you want to try to get public support on one side or another. This is muddying the waters because this is what Twitter is for. Nothing of value, just lots of trolling. So it says here, fans trying to save Spider-Man from leaving Marvel Studios' Marvel Cinematic Universe got Save Spider-Man trending, but it looks like bots are helping and targeting Sony Pictures. That's true. A lot of people I've been critical of Sony because I pay the hell attention to what's going on. But anyway, back in 2015, Sony Pictures' second Spider-Man franchise stalled out with the lackluster reception of 2014's The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and the studio ended up striking a deal with Marvel Studios. The partnership allowed Spider-Man to join the MCU, and Tom Holland was later cast as Peter Parker. Holland's take on Spider-Man has become beloved by fans, having appeared in 2 solo movies and 3 team-ups over the last few years. As a result, many fans were devastated by the news of Sony and Marvel potentially parting ways, causing Spider-Man to exit the MCU. People were furious yesterday, absolutely furious at this. I did a ranting video from my car. That's how mad I was. I will fully admit I had a heated Marvel fanboy moment, and I stand by it. I do. I stand by my commentary. Anyway, both hashtag Save Spider-Man and hashtag Save Spidey trended on Twitter, followed by hashtag Save Spider-Man from Sony as a tide turned against Sony Pictures, and fans blamed the studio for Spider-Man's exit from the MCU. However, many fans noticed that Twitter bots flooding the Spider-Man hashtags, potentially blowing the issue out of proportion. These are cases of similar or identical tweets going out from different accounts. While some can be attributed to humans stealing the tweets in an attempt to go viral, many appear to be bots. And this is true. So this is a tweet here from a guy named Senior 100 Tifico Datos. Don't know what that means. It's all in Spanish. We can see here that we see kind of a lot of the same tweets, perhaps, right? Well, let's get a better look. So this is what we see quite a bit coming out from the Spider-Man hashtag and Save Spider-Man and Save Spider-Man from Sony. It's a lot of the same stuff. Tony Stark did not travel back in time to get the Infinity Stones just so Sony could fuck it up by taking Spider-Man out of the MCU. You can't just take Tom Holland after we fall in love with him. I mean, we can see it's quite literally the same thing, right? It's just the same tweet over and over and over again. And this is not uncommon. This is not uncommon in regards to Twitter activism because Twitter is algorithm run, it is hashtag run, it is data run, and oftentimes it's easily manipulated for these types of hashtags, especially activism hashtags, which is why everything on Twitter should be taken with an absolute utter grain of salt. Now, fans have speculated that Disney is behind the bots in an attempt to turn public sentiment against Sony, but that seems far-fetched, and I have to absolutely agree on that one. Look, I love a good tinfoil theory as much as anybody else, I really do, but it does feel like this is more of a third-party aspect or a third-party effort versus anything else. Now, more likely the bots are part of a fan effort to encourage Sony and Disney to come to an agreement that keeps Spider-Man in the MCU. Fans have also stated or started petitions to keep Spider-Man in the MCU, created plenty of memes that have flooded social media sites, and even launched a ridiculous Facebook event to storm Sony and save Spider-Man. We will be talking about that actually in another video. But this is true. This is a petition that popped up on change.org. In fact, change.org mailed this to me multiple times today. Right? This particular petition from Nate Phillips in Highland, Indiana. By the time I took a screenshot, which is literally about 10 minutes before this recording, 65,000 people almost have signed it, and people want to see it. People really want to see Spider-Man back in the MCU, considering this goofy photo is kind of what took Tony. This upside down Peter Parker Stark Industries Stark Internship Award, this fake award. and that goofy look on his face, that's what prompted Tony to create time travel, to go back to save Peter. He went back to save Peter. That's why he went back. That's why fans care. Fans can see that thing, right? We can all see it happening. Now, this is what it says. After the news today that Sony walked away from their deal with Disney, I cannot in good faith, and I didn't say this was a good petition, I cannot in good faith stand by while Spider-Man and his fans around the world become collateral damage. Spider-Man in the MCU has brought some of the best memories in modern cinema history. Sony, you must let go of this property and renegotiate with Disney to keep all of the fans happy. Please join me in standing against Sony, who I'll be boycotting until this matter is properly resolved. Share the petition and let's make our voices heard. And then he leaves the website there and everything else. So, I mean, listen, are people going to boycott Sony? Maybe. I'm not going to lie. Maybe. They kind of produce crap movies. What's the next big Sony movie coming out? Right? Jumanji in December up against Star Wars. The trailer for Jumanji looked pretty terrible to me. I don't know if it's going to be any good. It could be. The last one was okay. People seem to like it. It did nearly $1 billion. They're hoping this one does $1 billion. But as I've said before, and I will reiterate my point, if Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker does well, like if it's received better, then people are going to probably go see that a few more times and Jumanji might take the hit. These things absolutely happen. And it's not uncommon. And you know what? We'll have to wait and see. But in the meantime, take everything on Twitter with a grain of salt. And let's hope Sony and Marvel do come to the table to discuss this, because at this point, there's been no official statement from Sony or from Marvel, from Kevin Feige, from Disney. They haven't said a word. And Sony's kind of controlled the narrative and done damage control and tried to make themselves out to be the victim when they're really not as much as you might think. And of course, that's all talk for another day, another time, and another video on this channel. But of course, I always want to know your opinions, so please write them down below.